the time when I realized that I will have to leave
This is one time I realized how important.
The Empathy Museum presents A Mile in My Shoes. These are black size 9 wetsuit material type booties. I think definitely used in water. And they say Peak UK on the front. They've got a bit of Velcro that goes over the top and they can fasten them. And they've got a rubber sole and 2 little sort of hook things at the back where you could perhaps hang them up. They smell quite rubbery. These shoes belong to Kenneth. This is his story.
Okay, I'm in my kayak right now and we're pointing downstream towards Kew Bridge. We've paddled for about 15-20 minutes upstream towards Richmond. I'm Kenneth. I'm chief executive of a dance organisation called The Place in London, and I'm here as a member of Chelsea Kayak Club kayaking on the Thames on a Thursday evening. It can feel like a sort of moving meditation. You see your environment in a completely different way when you're at that low level and you're actually on the water and seeing things from an angle that you don't normally see. My first foreign tour as a dancer was to Canada. If you were Canadian, to say in the fall of 1982. During a day off, we were taken to a private house right on the shores of a big lake in Montreal. And they had, it wasn't a kayak, it was what I call a high water canoe. You know, it was a red one, it was very beautiful. And I ended up putting on a life jacket and actually going right out into the lake. And what was amazing about the experience, with the autumn, the colours were just sensational. It was a sunny day. It was such a big lake, I couldn't say I got into the middle of it, because it was so vast, but I was out there somewhere, a long way from, land, and it was completely calm like glass. Even to this day, when I want to think of what it feels like to be in that zone of complete calm and contentment, sometimes I just close my eyes and think of that. I don't know, it was one of those weird experiences that it sound a bit strange, but I lost all sense of time. Okay, well, these are my kayaking shoes. They're not the daintiest of things, but they've got good, strong soles that are good for clambering over rocks. That's probably Thames mud, yes. I went to the Thames. I've been in the Thames since we came back from Scotland. So a bit of Thames mud is on them. When I'm kayaking, they're my best friends. Now that I'm no longer dancing and have a desk job, then actually finding another form of connection with my body is really important to me. But that's not actually why I do it. I just kind of do it because when I'm on the water, I just feel such joy. It's always changing. Every time you're on the water, whether you're on the Thames or on the sea, the conditions are slightly different. The quality of the light's different, the landscape's different. So it's a very dynamic thing, and I suppose in that sense there is, in my mind, some connection to what it felt like to be a dancer. I think it was the 5th anniversary of the death of a former colleague of mine. There was a group of aid workers in Afghanistan. They were taking medical aid to some of the most remote bits of Afghanistan. Well, amongst this group was a former dancer, someone actually who was younger than me. I taught her when she was a student and then danced with her as a fellow colleague. But she gave up dancing quite early on in her career to train as a doctor. At the point, just before she went out to Afghanistan, she actually gave up a very high qualified job, medical job with Bupa, in order to take this medical aid out to women and children in remote areas of Afghanistan. And unfortunately, yes, she... everyone in that group, apart from the driver, was killed. even when you're in silence, you're still sharing something. And sometimes you'll see something, and you'll smile at the person next to you paddling. You may not even need to say anything, but you know you've shared something. There are times when you're paddling with other people and you sort of go into your own zone. You're just focusing on your rhythm. I think you're constantly tuning into the people and things around you. And I think if I put my ex-dancer's hat on, one of the things I'm really passionate about is, I think, what anyone can learn through engaging in dance is self-awareness, to know what it is to be part of a group, and to develop empathy, a sense of empathy with the people and with the environment that you're in. She was due to come back to the UK to get married 2 weeks later, and I think it was her empathy that she had as a person that led her to be in that circumstance. But I also remember hearing how doctors needed training for empathy. You know, they were good at writing prescriptions, but they weren't empathetic enough. And I remember thinking very often, reflecting on that often, and thinking of Karen particularly, thinking Karen had that as I knew her, you know, and she wouldn't have needed training. And I suspect that was partly through the dancing, but also very much who she was as a person. That person was very much in my mind, especially as it's just been just 5th anniversary of death has just passed. The edge of the lake, the water was a little bit choppy, and then it got calm. And I remember, you know, just that feeling with incredible clarity. I don't know. So I think those moments of serenity that life can present you with, I think, are like gifts. And it wasn't because I fell asleep, but I missed lunch. And by the time I got back to the shore, I think the company executive director was standing on the shore looking a bit worried in case something had happened to me. But that was something that gave me a real taste. To find those moments of complete contentment, whether you're with other people or on your own, again, I think they're gifts, and I think they're to be celebrated.
Kenneth's story was produced by Leo Hornak. His shoes are part of a growing collection of footwear hosted by the Empathy Museum's A Mile in My Shoes exhibition. The shoes and stories come from all over the world. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram to find out where we are going next.